Chapters 28 and 29 of Numbers are a unit trying to explain and to expose all the regular systematic offerings God was asking the Israelites to bring. And God himself said, they are my offering, my food, my offerings made by fire as a sweet aroma to me. Offer to me. That's a very important concept. God was considering offerings as his food, even though he would not be nourished by them. He would not eat them. And in this case, it was different from the other peoples around the Israelites, because they were bringing food to their deities, and supposing that food would be eaten by them. But God, instead of eating their food, God was the provider. And those offerings, whose content was food, was meat, was some drinks, some grains, were supposed to bring the understanding that God is the provider. And when I come before him and I bring him my offerings, I am recognizing him as the provider, as the creator. So offerings are part of our worship to God. That's why it's very important for me to go to the church every week and bring my offering. The same way as I bring my voice to sing, as I kneel down to pray, as I study his word, the same way I also bring my offerings. And here in chapter 28, you can see the daily offerings, and they are described in the beginning of chapter 28. Then you see the weekly offerings, the offering of Sabbath. It will be different. It will be one offering in addition to the daily offerings, just in the Sabbath. Then you see the monthly offerings. Every first day of the month, there will be monthly offerings. And then the yearly offerings. Most of them are in chapter 29, and we will see them tomorrow. But there were 5 yearly offerings. So God was expecting his people to bring regular offerings. And the regularity was based on the calendar. But in these days, the regularity of my offerings may be based not on the calendar, but based on my income. And then I give to the Lord a proportion of my income every time there is an income. So tithes are also based on income, not based on a calendar. Every time you have an income, you tithe. So every time you have an income, you also bring offerings to the Lord. Let us consider that as we worship him, and let us bring offerings not to help God's house, not to help God's work, but to worship him, even though we know they will be used to speed the preaching of the gospel. But this should not be our main motivation. Our main motivation should be to worship the Lord. Let's worship him because he is God. God bless you. See you tomorrow.